Member Tim Carter.
Here.
Councilmember Orr.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Woodall. Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public presentations. This is the time for persons who wish to address the council on any matter not on this agenda and over which the council has jurisdiction. As such, a dialogue with the council or staff is not allowed under the Ralph M. Brown Act. Items requiring council actions not listed on this agenda may be placed on the next regular agenda for consideration if the council directs, unless a finding is made by at least 2/3 of the council that the item came up after the agenda was posted and is of an urgency nature requiring immediate action. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. You're on. Welcome.
Good morning. I live on Painter, 940 Curtis here in Rio Dell off Painter. First, I'd like to thank everybody who showed up to the barber shop. It was a wonderful day. I liked your speech. And the Rio Dell Scotia, they're having I want blank here. They're having a St. Patty's Day at the Scotia Lodge. I'd like to invite all of you to come. It's going to be, there's going to be food, fire admission, and entertainment. And I'd like to go celebrate the Scotia Lodge. It's a very historical place. And I think it'd be a lot of fun. So I invite anybody who'd like to come. And it's from 6 to 8. Not too early, not too late. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Yeah.
That's all.
Would you like to say anything? Okay, are there any hands raised? Any emails? Yes. I guess not. Okay, then we will close a public presentation. Is there any item council wants to remove from the consent calendar? No. Anything, problems? Any hands raised, any emails? No. Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion, is there a second? Motion carries 5-0. City manager staff updates, page 13 in our packets. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor Dorrance and members of the council. So I do have an update on the Redwood Region RISE grant that the city made application for an agricultural processing facility. That grant unfortunately was not awarded to the city, but we'll continue looking at some other options related to potential funding for that project. Doesn't necessarily mean that there would not be an agricultural processing facility here in Rio Dell, just wouldn't, the study wouldn't be led by the city. In other news, the CAL FIRE has released its local area of responsibility fire hazards severity mapping for Rio Dell and the region. And we're continuing to review this document. There is a link on the website that you will see that, you know, using some really broad measurements and analysis, certain sections in the town are in the mid-range for fire hazard severity, which is a little bit surprising, but we'll be taking a look at that and commenting appropriately to CAL FIRE on their mapping process. Certainly would encourage the council to take a look at that. And I believe that on that website has some additional information will play into a role in terms of home insurance and that sort of thing down the road. And then also the mayor and the city manager will also be meeting with Senator McGuire tomorrow and representatives of CAL FIRE related to the top property. So I don't have any other updates for the council at this time, but happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, city manager. Mayor Pro Tem.
No questions. I know Travis isn't here, but I want to thank him anyway because I've bothered him a lot over the last 2 weeks, and he's, as usual, been very helpful. Page 17, I'm looking at the animal control report. There were 0 dogs transported to Miranda's, which is very good. There were 2 cats transported, which is unfortunate, but that is only because the clinic was already closed and I could not convince the man to hold on to them for 3 days in a dog kennel. We went around and around, but still looking good on the animal control front. And so thank you to city staff, to law enforcement, to everybody. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Woodall?
No, just basically what Amanda said, you're all doing a great job and I sure appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilmember Orr? And Councilmember Wilson?
I have nothing on board.
Okay,
And, city manager's report.
thank you. And thank you, staff. You all make us look really good, all of you, and we appreciate that. Now we'll move on to ordinances and special resolutions. Item 1, 2025/0304. .04, adopt resolution number 1629-2025, approving expanding underground district number 2 and authorize the city manager to execute Rule 20A general conditions with PG&E, page 18 in our packets.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Garn, members of the council. So, Allison Talbot with Pacific Gas and Electric contacted us recently and set up a meeting to discuss what's called Rule 20A funding, which is a project that involves utilities under the regulation of the California Public Utilities Commission to do undergrounding of utilities. And so, based on the regulation, there are, funding funds available or credits available for undergrounding projects, of which the city has approximately $500,000 of these credits towards undergrounding projects. And one of the reasons that PG&E wanted to contact us, and we appreciate them doing so, was to let us know that the funding was at risk of being kind of scooped up and reappropriated to other jurisdictions. And so part of the complication with these older Rule 20A agreements was that some of the boundaries set up originally weren't of the appropriate size and scope for the program. And so in conversing with PG&E about this subject, they agreed or pointed out that we actually had a pretty competitive program with some minor amendments, extension of the undergrounding area to an appropriate length and scope. And so the resolution attached basically helps to preserve this potential project and the funds coming into the city of Rio Dell. It would be basically undergrounding of both power and telephone communications on the northern quarter of Wildwood Avenue south of City Hall. So Wildwood Avenue is largely cable free with the exception of the Christmas annual decorations. However, this section did not get done in the last undergrounding project, which was many, many years ago. And so there are some remaining sections to be done. And this would be, again, basically from Berkeley Street and the city parking lot up to Side Street and Triangle Park, just south of City Hall. And if this project materializes, that would make Wildwood Avenue basically completely above ground utility free. And so, again, under the advice of PG&E, they felt that this project was actually very competitive for the program under CPUC. So again, the Public Utilities Commission is kind of trying to gather up these funds from various jurisdictions that aren't being used, and we're hoping that we'll get another additional allocation unused from another community somewhere in the PG&E area to be reallocated here towards Rio Dell, towards this project. And again, the map for the area is on page 27 of your packet. And basically the resolution just accomplishes the goal of getting us towards project realization. And then I believe Community Development Director Caldwell had a handout because there was a slight amendment that was required from the resolution. I believe that's being handed out right now for the council.
Through the mayor, if I may, the supplemental information you're getting is the resolution. The information is the same, the format is just a little different. PG&E suggested we change the format to fairly. So that supplemental information before you, again, with the same language, just in a slightly modified format.
Thank you. Is that?
Yeah, and that's, it's relatively straightforward.
Okay. I just didn't know if you were finished. Okay.
There's just, if you have any discussion from the council, we'd love to hear it, and then open it up, obviously, to public comment. And then we're recommending the adoption of the resolution.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilson?
I don't see anything holding it up. You said in this part that you had, there's nothing really changes.
No, there's no changes at all, other than formatting.
Formatting.
Yeah, I think it was on the second page where it said to wit, there were 5 bullet points, now there's only 1, and those other 4 bullet points have been changed to whereases.
So then we have to get more money, we still have to come up with some more, by way of PG&E, some more money in order to pull this off.
Most likely, we had a meeting with the other utility providers, which was AT&T and Optimum. And it was discussed that it's actually about $1,000 on a foot to place this underground. So what we're doing is we're trying to keep our application alive and hopefully have some additional funds reallocated from other jurisdictions that'll bridge that gap. So our hope is someday to have enough funds where it won't cost the city anything.
You don't know how much additional money it would cost to do this?
I don't, because as you probably know, construction prices increase anywhere from 3 to 5% a year. So it really depends on when we get additional funds. But I'm guessing off the top of my head, it's about 800 feet. Total from Side Street down to Ash Street or Berkeley roughly. And so you're looking at $1,000, but you're looking at $800,000.
And we have 500 of that.
Yes.
Okay, so.
And we're not obligated to do this if the city doesn't want to do it. It's just we're keeping it alive.
I get it. We're trying to keep it, on the wall, or otherwise somebody takes ours and
Exactly.
does that. Sounds good.
Thank you. Councilmember Orr?
It mentioned in section 5, it says property owners are responsible for undergrounding their services. How many property owners are even in there?
There's 34. Actually, there's language in there too that actually says that the city is going to put the bill for that. Should that come? And what happens is PG&E actually runs the power, the utilities up to right underneath their existing service panel. That's what they call a temp cam. And then from there is up to the property owner. In this case, it would be the city to run that extra 3 feet up into the panel.
That was it.
Thank you. Councilmember Woodall?
Just one thing, in the public notice, I like the adoption of resolution and boundary maps will allow the city to retain the active status for the purpose of using PG&E 208 funds. But this part, no fees will be levied to any property owner as a result of establishing the district. I just think that's a good thing for the people to know up there.
Yeah, and we didn't, again, I think we sent out 34, maybe 35 public notices to those affected properties. And we haven't gotten comments from anybody.
Okay.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
No questions. I think all these lines should be underground eventually. So yeah, let's do it. By me.
Thank you. Is there anyone, member of the public who would want to comment? No. Hand raised. Okay, then I will ask for a motion to adopt resolution 1629-2025, approving expanding underground district number 2 and authorize the city manager to execute rule 20A general conditions with PG&E. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. On to the second reading and by title only, an adoption of ordinance number 411-2025 and resolution number 1630-2025, amending the industrial commercial IC zoning regulations and the general plan in the land use element, page 28 in our packets. City manager.
I'll go ahead and turn this over to our community development director.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, this item was brought to you at our last meeting on February 18th. It contained a lot of information, and again, the primary purpose here, as was discussed at that meeting, is that right now the industrial commercial zone refers to the industrial zone, which refers to the neighborhood commercial zone, which refers to the community commercial zone. Our intent is actually just to have one reference that identifies all the allowed uses, principally permitted and conditionally permitted. We've expanded the number of uses. We talked about that a little bit at the last meeting. I asked if your council had any suggested changes to bring to my attention, and I would modify the ordinance accordingly. I haven't heard of any requested changes. I can tell you that one of the property owners of the industrial commercial zone, and that's the property owner of the former Summers Towing Axle on Eloa Avenue, was very pleased to see that we're doing this and actually will allow some additional use types out there. In fact, now he's considering, based on these changes, to establish a RV open trailer storage parking yard on the property. And I should note in regards to that property, that it's this close to getting a clean bill of health from the Regional Water Quality Control Board as far as the soil contamination.
Oh, nice.
That's great.
With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have or members of the public may have. If not, I recommend that you open up the public hearing and see public input, deliberate. And then if you have any amendments, please let me know. If not, I would recommend that the council adopt ordinance 411-2025 and resolution 1630-2025, amending the industrial commercial zoning regulations and the general plan land use element for the industrial commercial designation as well.
Thank you, Community Development Director Caldwell. Any questions, Councilmember Woodall?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Nope.
Councilmember Orr? Councilmember Wilson?
No.
Any any member of the public with a question? Any hands raised? Any that was the actual open hearing. Do you need to say I open the hearing, or is that just before I did I need to say those words? Are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay. Then I will close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve and adopt ordinance number 411-2025 and resolution 1630-2025, amending the industrial commercial zoning regulations and the general plan land use elements. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Motion carries 5-0. Now we move on to the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 412-2025, establishing section 12.30 trails of the Rio Dell Municipal Code pertaining to regulations for trails. Page 43 in our packets.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes. So as the council's aware, the Eel River Trail is coming the project is coming to a close, and we'll have a trail officially opened here soon. And so with that use, staff is recommending the beginning of regulations for the use of the trail. And so because this is Rio Dell's first official kind of bike trail, the regulations in here in 12.30 as proposed, only affect the trail and have no other consequence outside of the trail. So the language as proposed specifically prohibits the use of motor-driven vehicles from the trail, with exceptions for the disabled, baby carriages, and vehicles in service of the city. Electric bicycles may use the trail so long as an electric motor is powered off. So at the first reading of the proposed ordinance on February 18th, some questions were raised regarding the use of various devices on the trail. Staff reviewed the grant language and found the intention for the grant was for a non-motorized trail. Additionally, the council may recall we circulated a number of petitions. We also sent out mailers for signature, and those contain language stating, I be undersigned or signing for a non-motorized trail, of which we received numerous signatures and submissions, and then those were part of the grant application. And then the grant application itself cites some studies from HCOG and RCAA calling for a non-motorized regional network. And of course, one of the main purposes of a non-motorized trail is to encourage safe physical exercise and recreational opportunities in our built environment that in the United States is currently dominated by infrastructure that's set up and prioritized for motorized use. And so by establishing the trail as non-motorized, the council demonstrates its commitment to this regional goal and potentially aids the city to be eligible for future similar grants in the future. So due to this, staff is recommending that we stick with kind of the original non-motorized language. But we're happy to make any changes that the council deems fit. And so now that staff has reintroduced the ordinance, staff is recommending that the council go ahead and open and receive public comment, to close that public comment, deliberate, and then provide direction to staff or adopt ordinance 412/2025. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. Bring to Council, Councilmember Orr,
No question.
Mayor Pro Tem,
No questions.
Councilmember Wilson,
No question.
Councilmember Woodall. Thank you. Or is there any member of the public who has a question or comment? Come forward.
You talked about this last week, but excuse my ignorance, where's this trail at? Where's it starting at?
Interesting. It starts at the end of Edwards. You know Edwards? You know Edwards Street down by Mingles?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
okay, and Davis.
yeah.
It starts at Edwards or ends at Edwards, depends on where you're starting yourself.
What's going
It goes
down
from
like
Davis to Edwards, or Edwards to Davis.
by way of the
Kind of
river
done
down there?
by way of the
Oh, that's
river.
cool. Okay,
And it's a lovely trail. I think hopefully the vegetation will grow up and it will start looking even,
well, I walk all the time, so I'm gonna try that.
yeah,
Thank you.
it's very nice. And so, are there any emails or hands raised? Hey, then,
One question.
oh, absolutely.
Does this affect traffic down to the river bar at all?
No, no. So, yeah, the trail would be considered to start just adjacent to the, where the road goes down.
Then I will close the public comment and ask for a motion to adopt ordinance 412-2025, establishing section 12.30 of the Rio Dell Municipal Code pertaining to trails and further establishing regulations for the Eel River trails of use.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. Motion carries 5-0. And now we come to council reports. Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh geez, okay. What? No,
Okay.
I got a bunch of papers.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Let's see, I went to a REDAC meeting. We heard from, North America's Building Trades Union, basically highlighting the importance of hiring local contractors for projects, which I think the city of Rio Dell is actually pretty good about, so it made me feel good. I have been, against my will, appointed to the executive committee for REDAC. I don't know what that means, but I will find out next month, so there's that. We had a COAD board meeting, which is Community Organizations Active in Disaster. It's been kind of hit and miss as Nick is in and out of health problems, but he is back and going strong now. So what we're doing there is nailing down working groups. We've got a tribal working group, an animal welfare, communication, long-term recovery. Really looking at solidifying COAD and our ability to respond to disasters locally, because disaster response is already hard enough and it is probably going to get much harder in the coming days, especially in California. So we're just really, really looking for ways that we can safeguard our local community and respond to disasters in the most effective way possible. The barbershop is very, very cute and the people are very nice, and I will definitely be getting my hair cut there, and I hope that everybody else will too. There's manicures too, don't forget, and I believe pedicures. It's a cute little spot, and you can't beat walking distance. So highly encourage everybody to check that out. There is a Chamber of Commerce meeting this Friday at noon in the Town of Scotia offices, just right across from the Scotia Lodge there. And I'll reiterate, the Chamber is having a party mixer fundraiser St. Patrick's Day celebration where there will be food and Irish music, I believe, and it sounds like a good time. March 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. I believe their entry fee is $5 a person, so it's not too bad, and you know, something fun to do. Beautification and walkability meeting is also this Friday at 3 p.m. And lastly, next weekend I'm going down to Willits for a Cal Cities Redwood Region meeting there. And that's it. Thank you.
Councilmember Orr,
I have nothing.
Councilmember Woodall.
Nothing, I just wanted to say about the barber shop opening was really nice, and they feel. Words got, but anyway, it's a good fit for the city. We needed that business. It'll work well. And I hope you and Kyle have a productive meeting tomorrow. We'll all keep our fingers crossed. And I went to the pinning at the firemen's open, and that was really nice. They did a nice job, and all those men deserved everything, and it was just nice. And that's about all for me.
Thank you, Councilmember Wilson.
I had a RCEA meeting last week, and they're still doing their RCEA thing. They're building the budget, their reserves in order to. One of the goals is to try to get to a place where that reserve is built to the target number, and then at that point, the hope is to try to be able to lower a percent to. But that's still, the energy industry is a very volatile. It swings from one report to the next, and by millions, by how much this market is. No, that's all I have.
Thank you. And I already said what I'm doing, and I'm not really sure. Are you my HTA person?
Huh?
You the HTA?
Oh, is it this week?
It's tomorrow morning. But you don't have to go. I told Greg that I would be there, and it didn't even occur to me that.
It was early in the morning.
Okay, it didn't even occur to me
Okay.
that the alternate thing. So yeah, I don't think anything huge happened. So anyway, so is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion, second, seconded, and adjourned until March 18th at 6 o'clock. Oh, and I just wanted to say hi to my lovely dearest friend, Nancy Kurtz. All right, that's good. Love you, Nancy. Meeting adjourned.